it's still Wednesday, July 20th. I just wanted to record this so I don't forget. It's really just so I don't forget. So I signed up for this class, MJ's Plutonic versus twin flame relationship, to learn a little bit more. I haven't gotten to the twin flame part, but just the Plutonian person in the relationship. So it just so happens that I still have this person's information. This person from my past, the artist, I have his information. And so I'm curious, right? In terms of just kind of matching, or not matching, but understanding, just understanding, really. So, based on what I've learned so far with Plutonian, what makes someone Plutonian? It's me. Because I just, as I was listening to MJ talk, I was reminded of that one time I recorded that video where I said I'm death and transformation when I was first learning about birth charts, because I have Pluto in my first house, and so Pluto in the first house, it's a lot of internal work, a lot of internal transformation. And then I have a stellium in my 8th house, which is also, the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about death and transformation. And even though I am a Libra rising, I also have, in terms of this particular type of chart, it's not a whole chart, so it actually starts in the middle of signs. A whole chart isolates the zodiac sign into one box. But what I noticed is that when I've been doing this with people, there's an overlap. Sometimes there's an overlap, and that's why the division is helpful, because it gives more flexibility for that overlap depending on the factors and the stories of the individual's life, is what I'm learning. And so even though I'm a Libra rising, my Libra, the beginning point of my rising is a little further than halfway. Scorpio is the next energy, if I'm going this way, counterclockwise from the first house. So I have Pluto in Libra in the first house, but the first house is also influenced by Scorpio energy because it's divided. Whereas this person from my past also has Pluto in Libra, possibly even, or it looks like it's also a little more than more than half. So it's not half, it's a little more than half. Only that his is in the 6th house. And so because Scorpio is the next energy, he also has Scorpio and Libra in the 6th house. So then what I was starting to look at when I would flip back and forth, because I don't have it over on top of each other, but more so like on different tabs, there's this mirroring of the placements, not exactly, but just the movement. When I kept switching back and forth, I was like, oh snap. So I mentioned that his north node is the opposite of mine. In the same energy, just the opposite placement. And so even though his Pluto's in the 6th, if I'm entertaining the idea of what I'm understanding, if I'm understanding it correctly, for me, Pluto in my first house means that it's a lot of transformation energy for the self, for who I am. And the 6th the sixth house is all about routine and day-to-day stuff, what I do during who I am and what I do. And that's when I because I was trying to understand it in the way that she worded it, and she gave the first house because she also has Pluto in her first house. I noticed that MJ and I have a lot of similar placements, and so she was just using herself as an example, which I totally appreciate, because I'm just like, okay, that's what she's describing then applies to me. And so she was talking about, you know, Pluto in the first house, what that means. So then I tried to apply the same thing in the sixth house, understanding what I know about the sixth house. The sixth house is about day-to-day routines, the tasks, health and wellness, the things I may not like to do but have to do. So there's an opposing factor. Like, I knew there was an opposing factor with the top and the bottom of the chart, where the bottom is more internal and the top part is more external, but I didn't, and how they balance each other out, you know, like the fourth house is home, the 10th house is work, the first house is self, the seventh house, which is opposing, is relationships, right? But just looking at his chart, it made me think, and I'm like, oh, it's also this way. Like, there's also a mirroring this way. And I hadn't considered that. It was only this way. And so then I started looking at the first house is it's just the different parts of me. So it's me, and then the sixth house, what I do. The seventh house is relationships with people. The 12th house is the relationship with source, right? The second house is my relationship to value and the tangible, and more of like the work, not work, like the tangible. And the fifth is about creation, which is can be very it's like, I mean, I can see the connection. I don't know how to describe it. And then the third house is about like immediate community, right? Closeness. And then the fourth house is home. And then the opposing one, right? It's eighth house is the systems. And then the 10th house is networks and organizations. The 9th house is higher education. The 10th house is work, right? So there's almost this mirroring potential of, not mirroring, but also compatibility, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, so I just wanted to record that because that was an awareness that I'm entertaining now that I'm learning, or just seeing it in a different way that I hadn't considered it. The other thing that stands out is that this totally makes sense for me in terms of I'm a Plutonian for people. I'm a Plutonian because of my placements. For a lot of people, they may feel this that reminds me of those other people that felt a connection, like and even like just people have a strong connection towards me, even though I may not feel it. They feel it. They're drawn to that attraction, the magnetic attraction towards me. Yeah. And so, but it's purposeful. Now that I see this, right, that I had knowing what I know about my own power struggles and how they manifested, and then how I've been working on the healing of it, right? But I'm still a mirror to other people. And so when other people have that connection towards me, it's because I'm lifting up a mirror for them to address. So if they have attachment issues, right, it's going to towards me. They can't let me go, right? It's just I'm highlighting. So I'm other people's Plutonian. I'm other people's Plutonian. I'm there, right? just a lot of what, you know, she's highlighting. And so then I tried to, he doesn't have a lot of those placements, the same placements that I do. And a lot of this, it's like a whiff of like, you know, our connection wasn't very, it wasn't sexual from the beginning. It wasn't, I don't remember it being like that in the beginning. But it's been a while, so I don't remember. But it didn't feel that way. It felt more here. It felt more here. But the dreams highlighted a lot of this stuff. The controlling aspect, right? My own challenges, my actual doing of obsessing almost, you know, struggling to let it go. Awareness of lack of permanence. So for me, I you know, I've mentioned that I moved around a lot. I moved around a lot. And another one, she talks about like this awareness of near-death experiences, which I haven't had, but I know he has. So it's almost like some of the stuff I have and then some of the stuff he has, but still the placement isn't, it's just, I'm curious to see when I get to that twin flame part, how she describes that. But this definitely highlighted that I am Plutonian. Like it really, not to that intensity, but I can see it. For me, I think is what's being highlighted more. Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that awareness as I'm navigating the course. And I'm going to see if there's other courses or just other information on it, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. So now I'm curious about, you know, and this is stuff that she's just noticed with the birth charts she's done, right? And what, you know, the information that she's learned. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what I keep learning. But yeah, Plutonian, all about death and transformation. I think one of the things is she says, she's like, these people aren't afraid of change. They're just like, bring it. I'm like, oh yeah. That's me, all right. Yeah. So I am death and transformation. That's so funny. Okay. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node. design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is, you know, great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, you know, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, and we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and you know, we'll see what else comes next for me.